So you're really done playing? You really want to put this game down?
You sure about that? You sure about that?
Tears of the Kingdom has been out for a few months now and is obviously an amazing game with an absolute metric ton of stuff to do. In fact, a large part of the gaming community has already crowned it Game of the Year 2023, while still trying to figure out how to get the paraglider. It's in Lookout Landing, you animals. But like everything, it eventually had to end. Some of you got through the main quest line, rolled those credits, and aren't looking back. Well done. Others spent some more time after beating the main quest to clear up some of the side quests. Great job. And a few of you spent another 400 hours collecting every single thing, including 1,000 Korok seeds? You absolute maniacs. But I'm not here to judge you for how you played the game. I'm here to guide you now that you have beaten it. Now that there's a Zelda-sized hole in your heart, what's next? What game can possibly live up to the amazing adventure you just experienced? Why does your backlog even have other games on it if Tears of the Kingdom is so perfect? Fortunately for you, I've thrown together a list of a few games I think you should play after beating Tears of the Kingdom. And because Tears of the Kingdom has so many different kinds of gameplay, I've broken this list down based on what part of the game interested you the most. So hey, I'm John, aka The Great Uke, and here are the games you should play now that you've beaten Tears of the Kingdom. Get it rolling. Tears of the Kingdom has a lot of different types of gameplay for you to connect with. Because of that, I've created 3 categories based on what I feel are Tears of the Kingdom's standout features, and I've selected a few games that could fit within each category. I can't promise that every game on this list is amazing, but I've played a lot of games over the years and can promise that they'll at least be interesting if you approach them with the right mindset. I'm always looking to play new games, so if there's a game that you think could be on any of these lists, let me know in the comments down below. With all that out of the way, let's jump into the categories. Starting back in 2017 with Breath of the Wild, Nintendo decided to take Zelda in a new direction: open world. While previous games in the franchise did allow for some exploration between main story points, I think it's fair to say that both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom take the concept to a whole new level. It would be easy to just list a few other open world games here and call it a day. Skyrim sure has a big open world, and you can use a sword. Immortals Phoenix Rising is kinda like a knockoff Breath of the Wild. Ooh boy, Assassin's Creed Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla have huge worlds filled with all the busy work you could ever want. They're basically the same thing. No, I'm not doing that. Instead, for these first few games, I want to focus on what stands out to me as the best feature in Tears of the Kingdom, and its take on the open world genre: the feeling of exploration and discovery. If you, like me, loved the feeling you got from walking into the open world, marking a spot on the map, and figuring out how best to get there, these are the games I recommend you try next. A short hike. No combat, no enemies, no fail state. Just a short hike to the top of a mountain to make a phone call. While a short hike can be completed quickly, exploring the island and getting distracted by small side quests as you make your way toward your ultimate goal really opens up the charm of this game. If you enjoyed slowly wandering around in the Hyrule wilderness and found the combat distracting at best, a short hike should be your next play. Tunic. Potentially the most obvious game on this list, Tunic's description on Steam kinda says it all. Explore a land filled with lost legends, ancient powers, and ferocious monsters in Tunic, an isometric action game about a small fox on a big adventure. Yeah, Link isn't a fox, but come on, that first line is basically the template for every Zelda game, like, ever. Despite its reputation as a Zelda clone, Tunic has a lot of things going for it, especially when it comes to exploration and discovery. I don't want to spoil anything for you since this game is best experienced blind, But trust me when I say that if you enjoyed unraveling the story in Tears of the Kingdom, slowly making your way through the world of Tunic will be an absolute blast. Dark Souls Remastered. Yeah, I know Elden Ring exists. I'm recommending Dark Souls Remastered here specifically because it remains a masterclass in level design. From the moment you're brought to Firelink Shrine, the world taunts you with mysterious goals and slowly draws you forward with micro-challenges that you can approach however you'd like. The same caveats that apply to all Souls games apply to this one as well. It doesn't hold your hand, can be purposefully obtuse, and will absolutely destroy you if you're not patient. But if you've taken down a few Lynels, Gleeoks, and Gloomhands along with the follow-up form, I think you'll be just fine jumping into this absolute classic. One thing the Zelda franchise has always done well is its art and music. The Zelda franchise has some of the best art design in the business, and Tears of the Kingdom is no exception. Nintendo and Koji Kondo grace us with the absolute GOAT of video game themes in the overworld of the original Legend of Zelda back in 1985, and they haven't looked back. Though often more subtle than other games in the series like Wind Waker and Skyward Sword, Tears of the Kingdom still manages to stun with breathtaking views, stunning orchestration, and the absolutely perfect amount of restraint. Fortunately for us, there are a ton of other games with absolutely unbelievable creative direction. If you loved staring out into the clouds taking screenshots or have the entire soundtrack saved in a playlist for when you're working, these games are for you. Gris. Gris is a fantastic game in its own right, but it excels at one thing in particular: establishing mood. Remember how it felt to walk out onto the Great Sky Island for the first time in Tears of the Kingdom? Gris is like if you made a game about that experience. Gris locks you in with gorgeous watercolor visuals and a sublime soundtrack, but then sprinkles on solid platforming with a dash of subtle storytelling for a fantastic time. If Show, Don't Tell was a game, it would be Gris. Ori and the Blind Forest. When I asked some friends what games should be a part of this category, almost all of them mentioned Ori. Ori and the Blind Forest is an adventure platformer with a wholly unique style. It's like the developers got together and said, what if we cranked the saturation and contrast up to 11? If you enjoyed the design of the Zonai and the shrines, the hyper-vibrant visuals will be right at home for you. As an added bonus, a direct sequel, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, exists and is perfect to pick up as soon as you finish The Blind Forest. Anything that Supergiant has made. Seriously. I don't know of another developer who makes consistently gorgeous games the way that Supergiant does. From Bastion to Transistor, Pyre to Hades, every game they've created has an increasingly honed sense of style. I want to shout out Darren Korb in particular for his amazing work on the soundtracks for each game. If you liked the subtlety present in Tears of the Kingdom soundtrack, I can't recommend Darren's work enough. My personal favorite game is Transistor. The Art Deco vibes mixed with computer hardware and digital noise really blew me away. You really can't go wrong with anything in their catalog. Okay, so while I know this should be a part of this video, coming up with these games was tricky. The building mechanics in Tears of the Kingdom kind of surprised me when I first jumped into the game. The opening area is similar to the one in Breath of the Wild, but Ultra Hand really takes the whole systemic gameplay idea in a whole new direction. The amount of creative freedom that Tears of the Kingdom allows is pretty incredible, and there are so few games not called Minecraft that capture that same sensation. But I'm always up for a challenge, and I think these games captured that same spirit of ingenuity and creativity. They're also a bit more out there. So if you spent hours experimenting with how many logs you could stick together, or just build an entire Gundam to blow through enemies, you should check out these games. Kerbal Space Program. I have had more fun watching failed launches in this game than is probably healthy, and I experienced a similar feeling watching people flounder around with all the new systems the first few weeks after Tears of the Kingdom released. My wife says I did the same thing, but there's no way that's accurate. Going through the process of meticulously planning, building, and testing a rocket launch, only to then watch in horror as the goofy minions-like creatures flop around as your plan fails, is spectacular, to say the least. How hard can rocket science be, anyway? Planet Coaster. Do you like Roller Coaster Tycoon? May I humbly suggest Planet Coaster. Don't know what Roller Coaster Tycoon is? May I humbly suggest Planet Coaster. The best part about eye-in-the-sky sims like this is how they allow you to react to ever-changing situations in basically whatever way you want. Just like how Tears of the Kingdom doesn't require you to solve any problem in any specific way, Planet Coaster will simply present an issue and then say, so what are you going to do about it? If you've got a solution in your head, Planet Coaster will probably let you do it. Slay the Spire. I had to put at least one card game on this list. This spot could really be filled by any roguelite games, but this is my list and Slay the Spire is my favorite in the genre. Slay the Spire is great because, like Tears of the Kingdom, it forces you to learn and adapt as you play. While each class may have an optimal build, you're not likely to know what that build is, or even how to approach simple actions like picking cards the first few times through. But as you play and start to unlock cards, you'll slowly pick up on patterns and eventually learn to exploit all the information the game gives you. Systems that once felt confusing are suddenly weapons that you use to cruise through the entire spire. Instead of the character getting stronger, you do. And there you have it. 9 very different games that you should play now that you've beaten Tears of the Kingdom. Have you played any of these games before? Do you agree with my assessment? Or did I miss a completely obvious game that definitely needs to be on this list? Leave a comment down below and let's talk about it. But if you think I nailed this list, leave your favorite emoji or something. Engagement is always good. Hit the like button if you haven't already, and be sure to subscribe for more content just like this. And finally, go play some games.